of State and chairman of the Abdul Salami Abubakar Institute for Peace and Sustainable Development, General Abdul Salami Abubakar himself, has added his voice to that of other Nigerians, speaking up on the state of the nation and growing insecurity.
General Abdul Salami Abubakar on Monday warned of dire consequences for Nigeria if the federal government fails to quell what he described as anger in the land. Speaking against the backdrop of the worsening insecurity in the country, occasioned by the spike in killings, kidnappings and banditry, Abdul Salami at a security summit in Minna called for dialogue and peaceful coexistence in addressing the country's security challenges. Joining me in the studio now is Adekunle Yusuf, Associate Editor, Head Investigations, The Nation newspaper. It's nice to have you join me right now. Well, General Abdul Salami Abubakar is a Nigerian that is respected anywhere in the country. He has been involved with a lot of peace, movement across the country, especially as build up to several elections we've had even since 2015. However, he called for a meeting sometime and call for a dialogue amongst regions of the country and some leaders. But one way or the other, we didn't see the attendant responses to the fact that, okay, former head of state has been doing this, he called and then let us answer. What from the permutations you're seeing, what do you make of that?
Well, there is nothing bad in talking, because even all the wars we've seen in history, they always end up,
on the round table.
At the round table. So there's nothing bad in talking, but what's the quality of the discourse, the narrative you are putting out there? We should thank, former head of state Abubakar for this effort, because when you look at it at a point, I was one of those who are worried that there's this deafening silence, among our elites. When you look at the level of insecurity in our country, things are getting bad every day, are getting worse every day, and everybody seems to be quiet. And lately, we've had voices from several quarters in Nigeria, and that is a beautiful thing. But that's not enough. We want, a secure and prosperous Nigeria. This dialogue by Abdul Salami would have, maybe to me, would have made more impact if representatives of the people who are the victims, largely the victims of this armed banditry, herdsmen, crisis with farmers and all those things. People like the Afenifere, the Ohaneze, Ndigo, the Middle Belt, Forum, the Pande.
But that was the invitation he extended, and they didn't show up.
No, he played into the. You see, you need to talk about how the presidency has fared in all this. The presidency has done a totally bad job in terms of security management of Nigeria, and you need to say it. But some of the narratives coming out from the presidency too, don't help matters. For example, you will see Garba, most of the times when he, speaks on behalf of the president, you see what he says. He's the one who created this problem, trying to lump the socio-cultural organizations with Miyetti Allah, which is not.
So the line of communication is not.
Yes. So when
it's not striking the right chord.
When the Abdul Salami, issue came up, that was the same mistake made, and that was, the kernel of discord.
All right. We look forward to the real solutions to this issue. Thank you very much, Adekunle Yusuf, for coming on the program. Thank you. Moving ahead now, former head of state and chairman of Abdul Salami Abubakar Institute for Peace and Sustainable Development, General Abdul Salami Abubakar retired, has added his voice to that of other Nigerians, speaking up on the state of the nation and growing insecurity.
General Abubakar warned on Monday of dire consequences for Nigeria if the federal government fails to quell what he described as anger in the land. Speaking against the backdrop of the worsening insecurity in the country, occasioned by the spike in killings, kidnappings and banditry, General Abdulsalami Abubakar at the Security Summit in Minna called for dialogue and peaceful coexistence in addressing the country's security challenges. Joining me now is Adekunle Yusuf. He is the Associate Editor, Head Investigations of the Nation newspapers. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us at this time. So there is anger in the land, as have been established, and the solutions is peaceful coexistence and dialogue. How do you think we can achieve this?
Well, we can achieve it if those in charge of national affairs, are made to do more. For now, their best is not good enough. And when you look at the figures in terms of harvest of deaths in the past few years, you will see that a lot is certainly not, right in Nigeria. Right. In the first quarter of this year alone, more than 1,000 people were killed. This is according to the IG of the police. Even in the month leading to the election and the election proper, almost 1,000 people were killed just during the election. Then last year, the first 6 months of last year, we had about 2,000 people murdered. When you look at the rate of kidnapping and banditry, we're not talking about Boko Haram now. So when you put everything together, we have never been this, unsafe.
But peace is not elusive, despite all this.
Yes, peace is not elusive, but it's not enough for General Abdulsalami and co. to just speak to the people. They should also speak truth to power. The presidency should embrace all opportunities to, go to the roots. Why are all this happening? Then, when we know the roots of a problem, when I get, narrative from the presidency that they have turned the security situation around, they have done, that is not true. Because people people know what is happening. The kind of kidnappings going on, the kind of killings everywhere. So it means a lot of strategies are not working. If it means a change of tactics, if it means change of personnel, right, whatever is going to take, Nigerians deserve a better,
So that's the top. And then looking at, those on the ground now, efforts on the ground, we saw the Afenifere, all groups now, missing the opportunity. There isn't. Many have, also given them commendation.
It would have helped us a bit.
If they had come.
Yes, reason being that these are the groups who have been more vociferous about the situation of things in the country. And if they are not there, of course, you will say you have the likes of Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Agbola Gambari, Ibrahim Agbola Gambari. You have other people from the south that are there. Good. Then you have the Miyetti Allah people that are also there. But the fact that you don't have Ohane Eze, you don't have Afenifere, you don't have Pandef, you don't have the middle belt, believe me, it has taken a lot from whatever the outcome of that kind of discussion would be, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Well, the general said, of course, it's a continuous process. We'll see how far this dialogue thing will take us. Thank you so much, Adekunle Yusuf.
I'm always glad to be here.
Back in Abuja, the Senate has started its summer break after 5 long days of screening ministerial nominees.
Now, 43 ministerial nominees were confirmed, and the lawmakers also discussed some national issues on the last day before the recess. Now, former head of state, besides that, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, retired, has added his voice to that of other Nigerians speaking up on the state of the nation and growing insecurity. He warned of dire consequences for Nigeria if the federal government fails to quell what he described as anger in the land. Now, speaking against the backdrop of worsening insecurity in the country occasioned by spiking killings, kidnappings and banditry, the general at the Security Summit in Minna called for dialogue and peaceful coexistence in addressing the country's security challenges.
In the studio with us now to discuss these issues are Managing Editor, Avalon Daily, Ayodele Adio. We also have...
we also have Adekunle Yusuf here in the studio, Associate Editor and head investigations at the Nation newspaper. Gentlemen, it's good to have you both. Join us right now.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
All right, let me begin with you now, Mr. Dio. Talking about the Abdul Salami peace meeting, of course, that he gathered eminent Nigerians from across the country. What would be your assessment?
Well, you see, it doesn't matter how many meetings that we're going to hold. I think former President Obasanjo also called for some sort of a roundtable for security. Except there is a fundamental change in the security architecture of this country, we are not going to see any progress. The truth is, however hard and uncomfortable it is, our internal security architecture is failing by the day. In fact, it's leaving communities like Jakarta that you just read in your news story left without the presence of the state, where criminals and bandits and terrorists can run over communities, burn houses, and kill people in hundreds and just walk away free as though there was no presence of the state there. So until the security architecture of this country is changed to reflect a stronger police system driven by intelligence, a stronger security architecture driven by intelligence, we're going to always call for conferences and roundtables, whereas the recommendations of these roundtables and papers are hardly ever implemented anyway. So what needs to be done is leadership from Abuja, a strong leadership, a strong political will to ensure that the country is safe and secure, every inch of this country. That is the starting point. And then we need to retweak. If we need to break down the police system, let us do so. If we need, in any case, the police is badly funded. You don't have a motivated police force. You don't have enough police officers on ground. You have a police that is not properly orientated, and that's why you have them shooting innocent citizens every now and then. So a lot needs to be done.
Okay, let me bring Adekule in here. The point there is Nigeria is blessed and I think it's one of the only African countries with the highest number of former presidents still alive and contributing to whatever is going on, guiding, you know, and so on. We still have up to about 6 or 7 former heads of state still alive and well. When it comes to the issue of restructuring, if I have to take it from that window, security is one of the issues that is making Nigerians so draw more on the issue or the topic of restructuring, besides economy and even politics. That how much can former heads of state, elders of the country do when it comes to saying, Nigeria, we've seen the best of it, and right now where we are now, we are at the threshold where things have to change?
Well, what I know is some of our former head of states, former presidents, we can say they have seen it all. They were there in the best of times, some of them not in the so palatable, time. I think by now, there is something they are yet to admit. From former President Obasanjo to Goodluck Jonathan to Abdul Salami that we are talking about now. I want them to tell the people in charge today, President Muhammadu Buhari, that now is the time for state police in Nigeria. We need community policing. A situation whereby one man sits in Abuja, appoints commissioners of police for every state in, all over Nigeria, and what we continue to have forever is what we're having now. It will continue to get worse. We are not prophets of doom.
So there won't be change if there is no change.
There is no change in security architecture unless we devolve power to the state level. When you look at this presidency, it's so clear. The vice president is in love with state police, community police, but the president is not. He has never hidden it.
So if his former colleagues
if President
prevail
Obasanjo,
on him, do you see him convinced?
if people like Obasanjo, Abdul Salami, we want them to speak truth to power. We are tired of, just as my friend said, we are tired of roundtables, conferences, whatever. We need them to speak truth to power. Nigeria needs state police, community police, now than at any point in our history, because there is no way we need to be fair to the IG when we sometimes criticize him. It's beyond his power. One man will sit in Abuja and know what is happening in all the 774 local governments in Nigeria. That is not going to happen. We are not the only country of the world. We always assume that as politicians we abuse it. Is the federal government not abusing it? You know, everything we even out if we are able to do that. If you don't, we will continue to record a huge harvest of deaths on a daily basis as we are getting it.
Let's quickly get into the issue of, you know, the ministerial portfolio now. Now that, you know, this crucial bridge has been crossed, we're expecting the president to come out with this, you know, much talked about attachment now, portfolios to it. Now, what are your expectations?
The President Muhammadu Buhari disappointed me thoroughly by not, you know, getting a big legacy. And what do I mean?
In what regard now?
In the ministerial nomination process in Nigeria, that I would have loved to have it, you know, on his CV, that here is a man who started the writing as far as ministerial nomination process in Nigeria is concerned. What do I mean? You don't call me for an interview, you know, for a job that I don't know what I will do, and you expect me to do well. Even you people at the interview panel will not be able to do justice because you two, unfortunately, don't know what I will be assigned to do because you are not the one to assign me. Okay. So in this one, we missed a vital opportunity. They are telling you, take a bow, go, take a bow, go, because you're a former lawmaker. Look at Hillary Clinton in America. When she was being interviewed for the job of Secretary of State. Before that, her husband was governor of state for several years. Was this state? Bill. Before he moved up to become president. So she was first lady in a state, then first lady, you know, United States of America. Then don't forget, she was a successful lawyer. Then she was a senator. She was not asked to bow and go. She was grilled for almost 12 hours for that job. Nobody said because she's a woman, and Americans, you know, respect, you know, women more than we do in Nigeria. Yeah. But our lawmakers are just, you know.
All right, I guess we have a lot to learn from that window. Thank you very much. It was part of what Ayodele Adio had said before, as give these women opportunity to express themselves. Adekunle Yusuf, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Thank you very much.
And Ayo,
thank you so much.
Adio, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.